Ну что, друзья, рада вас приветствовать на Maison Objet 2025. В этом году впервые за очень долгое время мы возвращаемся на выставку вместе с нашими репортажами, чему я очень-очень рада. Тема этого года surreality посвящена столетию сюрреализма. Это значит, что нас ожидает максимально много необычных инсталляций от самых разных дизайнеров, от Faye Toogood до Томаса Хаармана и дизайнеров из Uchronia, на стенде которых я прямо сейчас нахожусь. Пойдемте скорее смотреть.
Lucky enough and feeling very honoured to receive the Designer of the Year award from Maison Objet. So they have given me a space to come and show my work. And rather than create a retrospective work of looking back, I've actually decided to look forward. And so this is more, I described it to my team as if you opened up my brain, my walnut brain inside, this is what it would look like. So it's essentially 4 rooms inside my unconscious mind, because we're on a surrealism theme. So it's the 4 rooms of my unconscious mind, focusing on drawing, sculpture, landscape and materials. The 4 pillars of what my studio is all about. My work up to this point has been quite minimalist and aesthetic, quite singular, black and white geometry focus, but there's a real opening up towards the hand, so be that through painting, through drawing, through understanding the landscape. Basically a desire for connection through humanity and also through nature. So there's a big push from my point of view as questioning what is a designer, why do we need a designer at the moment, and my belief it's not to solve problems and resolve problems and find solutions, it's actually to find a way that we as humans can connect on a deeper level. This is the drawing room. So the wallpaper is my calico, and it's a landscape, an imaginary kind of surrealist landscape that was painted and then turned into a panoramic wallpaper. And it has a light there by Tacchini, and then pieces from the Toogood collection, some of which may be familiar, so the roly-poly, but this time it's all been hand painted. And the new gummy chair, the lounge chair and the armchair are fully upholstered in the UK using natural materials, so there's no nasty fire retardancy chemicals, it's all completely natural. The table, the sculptor's table, is 4 different paints colours poured on to the table, and then you see the drips on the edge, and then it's finished with the lacquer. The space that's dedicated to sculpture, and this really is my passion for form and geometry. You know, my background is fine art, not design, and so there's really a focus on shape and form. And actually the pieces are Poltrona Frau's squash chair over there, and Tacchini, the bookcase, and also the sofa, and then Hem's puffy chair, which is just down here. and they very kindly allowed me to reupholster them completely in black and present it against black. And I think the reason I've used black is because I'm feeling like at the moment there's a bit of a full stop. We're about to enter into a new era, which I'm really excited about. You know, it feels like with the birth of AI, it feels like there's going to be a point of abstraction coming and a new way forward. So I'm sort of feeling that this is a sort of a full stop in my mind of how we're going to be working next. This is a space that I've dedicated to materials, which I see as a really important part of the DNA of my studio, but also moving forward, I feel that materials are going to be absolutely essential, and I will be focusing mostly on natural materials where I can. I've just done this really as a way of saying that materials are part of my heart, my head. It's a kind of visceral element. It's very much me feeling the connection between the materials and design and also humanity. So I've actually used a kind of self-portrait in different materials, working with all the different manufacturers and craftspeople that I work with in the studio. So there's something in bronze, something in ceramic, something in wood, and with each of those manufacturers we've kind of created really just a celebration that's what I'm very much is in my forefront of my mind at the moment, and I feel it here and here, but the materials are really at the centre of the way we need to explore design moving forward. Part of that is I brought some pieces from the archive, so there's a big part of Toogood is the clothing collection. Some people are not aware of it, but it's kind of over half of the business for Toogood is actually clothing, and since working with clothing it feels like it's really connected the way I think about furniture and the way I think about the human body with furniture, what it feels like to have your feet under a table, what it feels like to actually be sitting in a chair. And this has really affected the way that I'm designing, which is much more about feeling and comfort. So you'll notice all the shapes are much fuller. There's a sense of kind of feeling cocooned, a sense of being kind of held by the furniture in a different way. So the young Faye was not so interested in this and was pushing the buttons around creating something that was avant-garde, but I actually feel now my role as a designer is to think about expression and connecting the human more with design, but also connecting us with nature. The room behind you is dedicated to landscape. And by landscape I mean nature, natural materials, the essence of nature, what nature does for us. Again, I feel that this is going to be, for me moving forward, creating pieces that connect us closer with nature and with landscape is going to become more and more important. I think people think about creativity as a sort of constant linear thing that we always have all the time and it's within us. But what I realise is that creativity does this. Okay, so in order to create, sometimes you need to pull back and you need to retreat, you need quiet, you need a container for your space, and having children has enabled that. My youngest is 7 years now, and so what I'm feeling is in the last 2 or 3 years, a lot of the creative flow feels good and I'm in high energy, and so actually the cadence of having children and the cadence of my creativity has been affected in that sense. And so I'm okay now with this idea that it's not about constant launches, you know, certain times of the years. It's an ebb and a flow, and I feel it's enabled me to feel very connected to being human and being in this world and finding a way to try and make objects that connect to others. Up to this point I haven't even taken any interviews on being a woman in design. It's not been something that I've wanted to talk about at all, and I just wanted to be seen as very much equal in that environment. But I feel the energy of a lot of younger women almost asking me to talk about it, and I'm now feeling, now I've opened the doors to that. Colour, decoration and other things are happening to my work in a way that I wasn't expecting. So perhaps where I would be more recognised for the geometry in the sculpture room, actually now there's going to be becoming much more colour and much more sense of decoration, because I now feel free and comfortable to work in that way, and I'm expecting lots of other female designers to feel that too.
The novelties are that we are 20 years young now. That's why we have a little celebration. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, 2005 the whole party started and continued, and that's why we have more things to celebrate. So it's our new Sip of Gold lines, the Cookies and Dreams. We have some beautiful new black and white patterns, knowing that this is one of our best sellers, our Cadoro. So that's something that we added, and we have limited editions, so you better be fast. There are only 20 each in bronze and in blue, so something pretty new, really collectibles this time. There's something in a rainbow finish, so it will be different every time it comes out of the oven, so surprise, surprise. So it's like unwrapping your birthday gifts, and this one is a little easier because it will be available all year round until the end of the year. And finally, you can take your best designs to the street and take it wherever you like. And when you come back home, you can look at the beautiful new vases from Paraiso, based on our lunar shapes. Most surreal, I would say it's probably this guy, because he's constantly changing in his appearance. And depending on what you put inside, is it just ice, or is this the biggest gin tonic you ever have?
Designing and self-producing all my objects, either myself with my own hands, so I did a lot of ceramics in the past, or I'm working with artisans and little manufactories all over Europe. The vases, for example, I'm throwing myself. Probably I will hand them over to a Portuguese factory now also to produce them. But in the last, I would say 4 or 5 years, I'm throwing them on the turning wheel. Now for Maison, I just made a new edition, so this is now a very colorful edition. It's a lot about surfaces and structures, so actually you should touch them. This is a little merge between a stackable industrial tableware and Memphis, as well as children's toys maybe. And the idea is that you have this tableware and you can basically build your own landscape on the dining table, but I also have a lot of people using them in the bathroom or using them on the desk. Then another series I'm producing with a German glassmaker is the candy series. The idea behind it is a little bit that I thought these candies is like a universal memory and everybody has like maybe good childhood memories connecting with them. Last year we produced then these candy mirrors. The inspiration for the candy mirrors is sugar canes. And I'm very happy that we managed before the fair to finish the coat candies you can see in the corner. So these are little candies you can put on your wall, and they are supposed to be for coats and accessories. And more to hang stuff over them is the Folkwork series, that are these two objects. This one was the first one I made. This one is actually a drying rack. So the idea behind that is that if you don't use it, you have a wall object and it's a wall decoration, and if you have wet laundry, you can upfold it and have space to dry your wet clothes. And when your guests are coming, you can very quickly just flip it down and it's just a nice wall piece. And the little sister of it is the valet stand, and this is like for all these clothes between like laundry and wardrobe, where you don't know what to do with them, and you have this arch where you can put your shirt or your jacket around them, and you have this arm for your trousers or your socks. And the newest one just finished, and the jello jars, the idea is that you have these nice glass plates and you have these hoods, and it's supposed to be that you can maybe on your beauty table have space for your fine jewelry or your lipsticks, or you can put your fine chocolate under them. And what I have in mind, what you can also see here, is that I love this idea of stacking things, and that you then have the possibility to build these nice towers of glass jellies.
То, что может считать особенным, это 11-метровый ковер, потому что это правда огромная большая работа, его пришлось 3 месяца делать, вот, и он отправится в Дубае, в дубайский Ардевива. Гигантская работа. Но вообще мы привезли ковры, просто освежили палитру. На этот год у нас палитра 12 цветов. И из нового, кроме керамической нитки, которая абсолютно матовая, мы начинаем работать с металлической ниткой. Пробуем сделать такую как бы блестящую. У меня, кстати, есть образец. Ну, это такая пробная версия. Мы скорее успеем доделать все. К Милану будет золото, серебро и медь.
I'm a woodworker and designer. And for the third edition of Maison Objet, so I did like, it's my third edition, I designed a piece for the show, for the curation of Thomas Haarman. And this piece, it's called Sharpe. It's a stool and also can be a coffee table, side table. And the material is ash wood, and also I made every pieces by hand, and I use like metal brush to make the vein deeper, and after I tint in black and I join them together. And it's kind of the beginning of a new collection that I want to make, like with solid wood.
I'm an artist, and I worked for a long time in black marble, which I still do. This is my piece, and this is actually also the source of my inspiration. So what I do is actually paint. I focus on my paintings, and the painting is actually, I capture the light, which is very typical for working in black marble, because I polish, and I make the material shine, and the reflection is so much more important than the actual shape. And that's why I got really into this light, capturing the light. And I have two series of paintings. I have the series of clouds, which you can see there, and I have also another series which I try to capture just a layer of light. It's another kind of approach. But I was very, very happy when I got approached by the organization to be part of this project, Curatio, which is a very, very nice stand. And the refinement of the vision of Thomas Haarman. He's a wonderful person who has really the talent to create something beautiful, which is very difficult to stand out in a happening like Maison Objet. What they have in common, because they're all unique, they're all like one piece of a kind, and handmade and authentic. I think that's all about. It's very original, and it just represents every single person that works on it. I think that's the thing. If you're really honest, you just make what you want, and that's the best way to do things. It's very convincing, and also convinced for me. You just know when you're right when you do something, and when you show that you really like what you make, then people will like it too.
The brand's name is Margaux Keller Collection. We are a Marseille-based company. Everything is designed by the designer Margaux Keller, who comes from Marseille. And the idea is to put forward French craftsmen through different types of objects, furniture. So it's our first time in Maison Objet, so we are super excited to be here. What's very important for Margaux Keller is to show and put forward some emotion, that when you see one piece, she wants you to feel something. So I think that the emotion is really at the heart of the project, but also her world is also described as quite poetic, very elegant. You have curves everywhere. We don't really like angles in Margaux Keller Collection. So yeah, that's the way you can recognize quite easily her work. And the colors are very important too. As you can see, the pieces are quite colorful, and she really chooses the color she works with very consciously. So it's definitely a signature for her collections. Maybe we have a mirror that actually is made in Marseille. I can show you if you want to come with me. So it's the piece you can see here that is called Marais. So it's made by a family business based in Marseille. And you have very organic forms. You have two colors that are put together. This one is made in silver, this one is made in blue. And I think that it's something that you're not used to see. And so maybe this piece could work with this theme.
About my brand, yes, I'm Mareike Linau, I'm the designer of Le Carpet, and I built up a fair trade project in Nepal 15 years ago, and now I'm here on the Maison Objet. I'm quite happy. I have and had this goal to bring the traditional Nepal techniques into a new unseen way to make unseen objects. I work only with the traditional techniques and 100% Nepalian wool and plant-dyed wool. I always choose the same material since 15 years. I show my new collection because I have had my anniversary last year. So Le Carpet is now 15 years old. And as you see, I have got the confetti on the carpet and also show my new poof, Tilda. It has now little feet made out of steel. Surrealism. So I think my things matched quite good in the surrealism theme, because as you see, it's more like you get in contact with these little creatures. These are little poofs, but also little characters and little monsters. And you can see they have different names because all of them are so different. I would pick, I think, Tilda, the new poof, because you really get in contact with this object. You can sit on, you can feel it, but it's also unseen, but it's a poof with steel feet. So it's new, it's a combination of traditional work, but also modern and unseen.
My brand is Schoemig Porzellan, and I'm a ceramist for a long time. I work with handmade porcelain. I do all the production with my team in Berlin, in my studio. We work with porcelain, and it's the highest quality possible in porcelain. Everything we do is made for daily use, so you can put it in the dishwasher. And I do from tableware to over objects and accessories to wall objects, like for example the Heaven wall installation that could be spread also about 10 meters. And we also do large commissions for companies. And yes, porcelain is our passion, so we are very dedicated to form and details, and yeah. We put our heart into it. I worked with many companies before I started my own business in 2010, so I really know the material from the core. I'm happy when the objects are radiating beauty and poetry. For me, it's important that a handmade object, it changes the atmosphere of a space. And I often hear that people who have porcelain from us, that they say it changes their mood and it makes your day different, and somehow it enhances the daily life. So how you feel in your life when you live with handmade objects like that. So yeah, I think those ones, the wall objects, correspond with that theme. It's collage. It's called atolls. So it's about the qualities that are inherent in the material, like flowing, and I try to not interact too much with it. I let the material speak, and afterwards I make the collage. And it's also that I collect wild sand from nature and work with it in my studio, wild earth. And so it's more about letting the material speak.
So the Hooge Land brand is a Dutch company making candles for 250 years, initially for church, and then for the first time we moved to design. So we mix the tradition know-how with, let's say, the avant-garde of the design, with Lex Potter's designer and Lisa as well as a designer. So we make the fusion between tradition, craftsmanship, and sophistication of the contemporary design. We stand for exquisite, ethical and experimental. So I guess surrealism and experimentation, that fits quite well with our values. So it's a chance, but let's say the purpose and the vision is to create sophistication and twist of positive attitude. I mean, what is surreal is that in this type of candles is that there is a double wall, and then the surreality is that you can refill it completely and then you don't throw it away. So it's ecological surrealism.
Paola Paronetto, it's a very big artist, and she wanted to try to express herself, and she catched her inspiration in nature. So she wanted to create different kind of shapes and texture to reflect nature and her soul. This brand is growing up and is in continuing transformation. So with the colors and the texture, so Paola she's always growing up. Okay, it's very difficult because for Paola, all the collections, all the pieces are surrealism. But we thought about it, and maybe these pieces can represent surrealism, because lots of people thought about plants or a landscape or like houses or trees. You can imagine everything, and this is the symbol for us about surrealism this year.